work of the Keller Williams New Orleans office and Mr. Dusan and all of the folks that work in that office, including our board member, Guyon Lewis, who's back there. Guyon, raise your hand. But more than that, it wasn't just a one-time thing. They've come back year after year, painted classrooms, got us color printers when we only had a black and white copy machine. Like, the list goes on and on of the things. School supplies, art supplies, the list goes on, and never once asked for anything in return. They are really a true definition of what community support looks like. I think that, you guys know where we are, and we've got a library, and we've got a bank, and we've got a gas station, we've got stuff all around us, and we do for sure have great relationships with all of those folks. However, Keller Williams, New Orleans, has been probably the most consistent and impactful of our community supporters. And so we wanted to recognize you all tonight. Thank you. And present you with this small token, our Community Support Award.
So, everybody, that's all you. And everybody, I think you remember Dr. Vera Triplett, who's the founder and head of Noble Minds Academy. So come on up, Dr. Triplett. There we go. Sorry. We've got okay. Stairs. Nobody likes the long way. So thank you so much for that award.
Oh, absolutely.
It means a lot. It was.
Thank you all, first and foremost, for all of the work over the years. That's the main thing.
Well, it was an honor to do it, and we want to keep going. I believe, Lauren and I make a real. We're very purposeful that we think early childhood education is like the lead domino of ways we can affect change in this city, and that's how we spend a lot of our free time. But I wanted to adopt a school that was in our neighborhood, and I think we did that.
Yes.
And then we heard some crazy news last year that y'all were kind of under attack by the state because you cover and take care of so many children that have different and diverse, what we call neurodiversity, or all these different situations. And you say yes to everybody.
Yeah.
And you're being held to a standard that really was not considering that. Is that a fair way to understand?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect way to explain it. So to give you a little bit of background, our school started as a direct result of the reform movement not serving all students. And so, as many of you know, after Katrina, there was a large-scale reform, which was a needed thing. We absolutely needed education reform in this city. The problem was that there was a segment of the student population, in particular our students with diverse needs or neurodiverse students, that were still being left behind. They were not being considered in this sort of college or bust mentality for schools. So while a lot of what was brought in after Katrina worked for a lot of kids, there were also kids that it did not work for. So our school is primarily designed for those students. We have kids that are absolutely neurotypical, but even in the neurotypical kids, some of them just can't be in a class with 30 other students. They're not going to be successful. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have kids that are nonverbal, who are diapered. We have kids that were still expected to take the same state-mandated exams as any other neurotypical kid. Like we literally had a kid that does not speak. He does not talk. And they were like, yeah, no, he's still got to take this test. So when we talk about sort of the imbalance of expectations, I think that's what we're talking about. Our school actually started as an independent school. We morphed into a charter school because there was just so much demand for what we were doing. And now that we've had this situation, we have just decided to go back to what we were doing before. And I can tell you the response that we've gotten just from everywhere. We have kids that come to us from as far away as Plaquemines Parish. You all may not be aware, but there is currently another lawsuit that's been filed against the LDOE and the OPSB about their treatment of families with students with special needs. This will be the second one. There is already a judgment against them. So this is not new. Children with special needs have very often just been left behind.
Well, and to back up a second, because I think some people in the room might not remember 3 or 4 years ago when you first told us about your mission. What was happening to these kids, I remember they hold back tears, was they're being expelled from their schools.
Expelled, suspended.
And at very young ages, because when a kid is not engaged in a classroom, it sets off a series of problems.
Yeah.
Right?
So 3 and 4 year olds being put out of school, 5-year-olds being put out of school.
And then the more we put kids out of school, the higher likelihood, just the raw statistics say, of them ending up in jail.
Oh, absolutely.
Or committing crimes and then ending up in the justice system.
So there's a whole new, it used to just be school to prison pipeline. Now they've changed it to preschool to prison pipeline, because literally the number of 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds that are being suspended and expelled from schools is astounding. And just to give you one small anecdote, since we have transitioned back to being independent, we had a couple of parents who said, listen, even at its lowest rate, I cannot afford this. I'm going to have to put my kid into another public school. And 6 of them since then have called and said, I don't care if I have to work 3 jobs. We're coming back. I can't do this. Kids being put into classrooms with 30 other kids without a para, kids who are nonverbal, kids who are diapered, kids that have ambulatory issues, just being put into a room. So again, I think that the thing to remember is schools in general are overcrowded and underfunded. And then when you add in the extra sort of training and experience you need to deal with special needs kids, that just makes it even more, I think, untenable. I don't think every single school has bad intentions. I do think that we are not incentivized as a system to take care of special needs kids, because everything is so focused on these test scores. Some of these kids need to learn to walk and talk. Like, it really is just that basic. And so we do the thing with passion that most people just tolerate. We actually want these kids that other people don't want.
And this is really your life's work. You got a doctorate.
Yeah, it is.
You studied I remember you explained that you studied this from the justice side, and then and your solution after seeing the problem was creating Noble Minds.
Yeah, we needed a therapeutic school. So my background is in education, mental health, and juvenile justice reform. So I started my career as a teacher. I got a couple of master's degrees in counseling, both mental health and school counseling, and then a PhD in counselor education. I worked for some years for the New Orleans Child Advocacy Center, helped write legislation around child abuse, started a program along with Phyllis Landrew, actually, may she rest in peace, to train teachers on how to properly report and identify child abuse. So this is work that I've been doing for a long time. And I know that there are people who really don't understand that some children need more mental health and behavioral support than they need academic support at a point in their lives. We can't get them ready to be academically successful if they can't be mentally healthy and behaviorally regulated. It just will not happen. And so the cycle of suspension and expulsion and being arrested, everything that we do in my school is crime prevention. Conflict resolution is crime prevention. Self-regulation is crime prevention. All of those things help to address some of the social ills that we are also concerned about. But we cannot continue to do things the same way and think we're going to get a different result.
Yeah. So they came after you at the end of last school year.
They did.
There was fear, they being the state. There was fear that you all were going to have to shut down. You
Yes.
really thought that was it, and then you figured out how to pivot, and you said, I'm becoming a private school.
Well, I'm going to tell you, just much like you said, it was your team. For me, it was my family's. Like, my family said, we will not go anywhere else. We will bring these kids to your garage. And I was like, well,
Please don't do that.
also, I don't have one. I don't have a garage. And so I was like, well, that we won't be able to do that. But no, we figured it out. They said they would pay not only, and I'm going to tell you how important and how passionate and how great this effort was from like a family and school standpoint. Not only did our families say, we'll pay, but we also had families that say, and if there are other families who can't pay, we'll pay for them. And they have. Wow. Like, they've stayed true to that. They got us on television. Like, it was a complete, because it wasn't so much that I was ready to throw in the towel, but I knew that without money, we can't do this. I have to be able to pay people. And by the way, we have 3 people that volunteer, 2 of whom used to work for us for pay. But because they know that we can't afford to pay them, we have 2 people that continue to volunteer to work for us. Another gentleman who works for NORD was like, I'll volunteer to be your coach. We're like, are you background checked? Yep, let's go. So it's one of those things where there are people out there who are just willing to give up their time, energy, and effort. And that kind of brings me full circle back to you all, because I think what made us, when we were talking about this as a board and as a faculty and staff, decide that you all were the people that deserve this award, is just the consistency. It wasn't just a one-time thing and you guys were gone. It was every year, and I never had to call you. You always called me. What do you guys need this year? What can we work on for you? You know, that's huge for a small school. And in particular, a school like ours, like, we're not going to have a huge athletic program. We're not going to, there are just certain things that attract people that our school doesn't have. What we do have is a lot of heart, and we have a lot of just amazing kids and amazing families. Everybody just wants the best for their child, whether their child has autism or ADHD or anxiety or depression, whatever. People still want the best for their child, and they deserve to be able to have it.
I agree. Well, so you've got an immediate need that you need some real estate help for.
We do. So the building we're in now is great, and we love it. And the church has been very generous in allowing us to remain there for another year. But the rent there is out of our reach. And in our new situation where we are depending on tuition and fees and grants and fundraising and donations, I think you all know that most people don't want to see most of your money going to infrastructure, to rent. Mm-hmm. And so we are looking for something that is much more reasonable than what we're paying now. Right now, annually, we pay a little over $200,000 in rent alone. Would that be accurate? And we've been there 7 of the 8 years that we've been in existence as a school. So, we just need something that is much more reasonable. If there, for example, is someone who's looking just for a tax write-off, like they've got a space that they're not using, but they need to be able to write it off, and we could, they can write, we're a 501c3. But we're looking for something preferably We would like to stay on the east bank of the city. Even in East Jefferson would be fine. Like I said, we have parents that come from everywhere. St. Bernard, Orleans, Plaquemines, East and West Jeff. So this spot has just been a great sort of, centrally located location. But we got to do what we got to do to survive.
So I've got a list of some of the criteria. We're going to put that out in the post-meeting email today. It's about 10 classrooms is what they need, and everything else is kind of a bonus, if I understand it. So, so let's put a pin in that for a second. The way we got connected to Noble Minds is another kind of only a Keller Williams story. And that is, Laura and I had this idea of adopting a school, and we were thinking, okay, which one? And I even drove down Leona Street. There's a school back there, and they're kind of weird when single men knock on a door. By single, I mean by themselves at a school. The world today, when you're trying to do the right thing, people just don't understand. I'm always misunderstood. So what we did was we followed the kind of Keller Williams way, and we brought this to the ALC. And Guyon, who's been an ALC member for a long time, our Agent Leadership Council, if you're not familiar with that, said, I'm on the founding board of a school on Carrollton Avenue, and they definitely need your help. And we were like, why didn't you tell us this? And that's how this all started. This started from agents, okay? So we need your help again, by we, Noble Minds. I think we've got an opportunity here to figure out, to put our entrepreneurial hat on, to put our generosity hat on, and to put our realtor hat on, and to figure out where we can help them find a place. Who do we know that they need to know? Okay, that potentially has a building that, there's a lot of commercial buildings just not renting that could easily become a school. Let's figure that out. If there's a tax play, we can help them figure it out and connect them. But find the building first. Next, how do we continue our support? We could go back over there, but they're going to be moving. And I think it's kind of investing into a facility that we know they're leaving is probably not the highest and best use of
We're going to take our container planners, though.
Well, we're gonna get you new ones, okay? When you move, I'm not worried.
We want those.
We're gonna help a lot once you've got the space. I promise you that we'll be there. But also, what can we do that we think could help be? What's our new model for how we can do this? I think we probably need to put together a little task force of people that are passionate about this, that want to figure out how we as an office can come together. And I don't just mean on Red Day. I mean throughout the year, what that looks like. And I'm volunteering Guyon to be the leader of that.
You've been voluntold.
He's been voluntold. And finally, I think we've got to help them get the right word out. I think we've got to tell this story. Yeah. Because this is a story that we've got. We need great stories in New Orleans, and this is someone doing incredible work, and her whole team is. We've gotten to meet them, and we need. All anyone remembers is the news right now. When you mention Noble Minds, is that news story that came out last spring at the end of the school year that they were closing, and we've got to help change that so we can help them raise funds for more people.
Yeah, everyone.
Is that a good Allen charge?
I still thought you were closing. So
that's
good to know.
Yeah.
Why she's here.
Story, yeah.
We are here, and come visit us and meet our kids, because once you do that, it's done. You're 1,000% in, because they are some of the best in the city. They really, truly are.